Today, Anguillians use devices like cell phones, tablets, and laptops to communicate with just a click of a button like I just did. But did you know that it always wasn't that way? Can you imagine having to answer the phone without knowing who is calling? Can you imagine having to take a bicycle ride to someone's house just to tell them something? Come back in time on a journey with me through Anguilla's communication revolution.
Hey, 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 come children, come children, come children, come children, come. I have a story to tell you.
Before the historical 1967 revolution, Anguilla was a part of the tri-state St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla, governed by Mr. Robert Bradshaw, the leader of St. Kitts. During that time, life for many Anguillians was not as simple as we know it today.
When I grew up, I had to run from Island Harbor to the East End School. We didn't have a car, we didn't have a bus, we didn't have electricity, nor running water. And we had to do our chores before we leave to go to school. We just didn't get up like you all do now. You get up, you get your breakfast, you go in the bathroom, and you sit in your car and you go to school. We had nothing like that. So we had to go to the well to get the red water. We had to draw the water with a bucket and a rope, fill the bucket and carry it home on your head.
A lot of Anguillians disapproved of the Union. They felt very neglected in that they had no real political power.
We had little enough before, and we were less between the three island states. The powers that be were at the time thought it's better to pull out then than to go into the tri-state union. And it was bad enough before, and we thought, well, it would be worse after that.
In the 1950s, there were 14 hand-cranked telephones that were used in government offices and businesses. All calls were routed through St. Kitts. Unfortunately, the phones were destroyed in 1960 by Hurricane Donna. Even when there were telephones, communication for the everyday man was limited and simple.
Mainly, you meet someone you know and you transfer or give information to pass on, because there was no telephones or anything like that. Or maybe at a church gathering, a funeral or something.
Contacting the police or hospital in emergencies also wasn't simple.
You get on your old jalopy, that's a bicycle, we call it back in those days, or you walk to the police station, or you go to the hospital by whatever means that was close by, a friend's car. In those days, there were very few.
Communication with persons outside of Anguilla was mainly done via mail.
Mail to Anguilla came from St. Kitts to Anguilla by boat. Mr. Joe Combs got a car and he did that service by going to the forest for the mail, picking up what was there. In order for people to know when the mail came in, he would honk his car horn, and then people will go up to the Crocus Hill, post office in Crocus Hill, and they would be there waiting to hear the name call out. I had to do the delivery of mail on a bicycle. We had the St. Kitts Nevis stamps. Anguilla wasn't there yet.
Anguilla also had no local radio station or local newspaper during this time. News about Anguilla was shared through British networks or via St. Kitts and neighboring islands' broadcasts and newspapers. Ironically, it was a letter published in the St. Kitts newspaper, The Democrat, that many considered to have helped spark the flame of Anguilla's revolution. On August 6, 1966, a letter written by Mr. Atlin Harrigan, one of Anguilla's revolutionary leaders, was published. In his letter, he called on the Anguillian people to reject statehood because of the horrible condition of the island under Bradshaw's rule. With those words, Anguillians were spurred into action. This paved the way for what was considered the world's smallest revolution.
Anguillans tried for years to separate from St. Kitts Nevis, but eventually in 1967 we got totally fed up with it, and I took part in that. I roll the drums on the airport, up into the airport to get the policemen out. In order for Anguilla to move forward, we had to take some measure of control of our own destiny. So, rebel, we did, and we were successful, very successful.
Even though it was considered to be a small revolution by those on the outside, for Anguillians there was nothing small about it. The fight for freedom on May 30, 1967 led to so many changes, far beyond the political change. One of the first acts to show Anguilla's new independence was to overprint the words Independent Anguilla on the St. Kitts Nevis stamps. 4 months after the revolution, Anguilla's first newspaper, The Beacon, was produced. This provided an opportunity for people to express how they felt about Anguilla's political needs, and most importantly, it was a voice for Anguillians. In 1971, for the first time ever, Anguillians had the opportunity to have phones installed in their homes with the introduction of Cable and Wireless Limited, now known as Flow. The revolution, without a doubt, had a major impact on how we communicate today. Take radio stations, for example.
This is Radio Anguilla broadcasting from the Valley in Anguilla. It is now 15 minutes after the 2 o'clock hour.
Today, we have multiple local radio stations that play a vital role in providing local news. The mother of all these radio stations was formed as a direct result of the revolution.
So HMS Minerva came to Anguilla after the revolution, and they had radio broadcasting equipment on the ship. It was a big ship, and they had the sailors on board, and they used the equipment to entertain the sailors. And a plea was made. They asked, an Anguillian, Mr. Bob Rogers, asked them if they could give the equipment or some equipment to Anguilla, because when they were in Anguilla, people could then hear their radio station and be entertained. And when they were about to leave, they donated the equipment to the government of Anguilla, forming Radio Anguilla in 1969.
With the new freedom from St. Kitts, Anguilla had no choice but to develop its own postal services and newspaper. We now have a locally operated post office that provides an important communication link locally, regionally, and internationally, as well as our very own newspaper, The Anguillian. Thanks to the continued development of communication infrastructure over the years, we are now able to enjoy cell phone services, the internet, and even social media, which opened up a whole new branch of communication for Anguilla. That brings us to where we are now. Oh my gosh, did you see what Emma posted? The revolution not only gave Anguilla a political change, but also a communication revolution. We should all be very grateful for our ancestors for fighting for our country, because their bravery in taking Anguilla into the unknown led to a better future for us all.
We are the children of the revolution. We are the children of the 70s. We are the children of the revolution. We are the fighters, if you please.